comedy itself is a very difficult genre to pull off, but when you mix mystery to it, the stakes suddenly they become higher. It's, if I may put it, it's as good as bowling a reverse swing. To hide the shiny side, still you have to make sure that it lands perfectly, the pitch is perfect. How was it for you all as actors, as artists, to explore this unusual space of comedy and the mystery? Anyone can take the lead and start.
For me, it was something, I don't think I've done this before. I've played a villain who's somewhat funny and humorous, but not a detective who's like that. So for me, it was slightly new, and also I had the pleasure of exploring it. So it was a double whammy.
Okay. And others?
I think I really enjoyed watching KK and Ranvir bring their own brand of comedy to their roles, and how they sort of met each other, and how they were playing off each other. I think that for me was a learning experience, because most of the comedic stuff that I have had an opportunity to be a part of, I'm usually the foil. I'm not the person making that moment I'm making the moment happen by being the foil, not by. So I want to experiment more with comedy, and that is really I'm putting it out there now. So that I hope more of that happens.
Okay.
I think for me, most of the comedy that gets created in the scenes that I have with the two of them is through the both of them actually. So I am not really being a funny person or doing comedy there. I am doing my stuff seriously, but it's because of their characters, and especially KK's character का अपना एक इतना quirk है कि वो आपको seriousness में भी आपको वो हंसा देता है. It brings a smile to your face. So I think I just had to not really take the load of it, and they were just doing their thing, and usme I'm sure it's funny to the audience because of who they are as characters. So yeah.
मेरे लिए तो first straight up comedy with mystery is one of the greatest सब genres there is. मैं अगर नाम लेने शुरू करूँ तो मतलब जाने भी दो यारो ले लो, अंग्रेजी फिल्मों में बात करें तो पूरी पिंक पैंथर सीरीज ले लो. वन ऑफ द ग्रेटेस्ट कॉमेडी मिस्ट्रीज आई हैव सीन, मर्डर बाय डेथ, उसमें भी पीटर सेलर्स, यू हैव टू वॉच दैट फिल्म, इट्स हिलेरियस. सो फॉर मी एज अ जॉनर इट इज़ वेरी एक्साइटिंग. और इसमें मैं कहूँगा कि जो सेंट्रल पीस जो है कॉमेडी और मिस्ट्री का, दैट इज़ प्लेड बाय केके, विच इज़ द टाइटल रोल, शेखर होम, एंड दैट इज़ द रेवलेशन in the series, discovering this man. And मेरे character के जरिए, you can say kind of through his eyes you start meeting the revealing of this personality. But luckily मेरे role में भी उन्होंने कुछ layers दिए हैं, so I'm grateful for that. बाकी like Rasika said, मेरे लिए comedy में ज़रूरी नहीं होता कि आप एक्टिवली जो कॉमेडी कर रहे हैं वही पार्ट इंजॉय करें. मेरे लिए एज एन एक्टर प्लेइंग द फॉयल आल्सो इज इक्वली अट्रैक्टिव एज लॉन्ग एज द सीन वर्क्स. सो या मेरे लिए दिस वाज लाइक इट वाज अ वेरी satisfying experience.
Okay. And I saw the trailer, and both of your characters, they work so much in tandem. I would like to know if they're one of those pairs who are individually completely on a different end of the spectrum, or they share the same wavelength or the same worldview when they work
as
beautifully.
Characters or as actors?
As characters.
Very different. Both of us are very different as characters. And hence it's more interesting because there is a certain thread that connects them both, which is invisible yet palpable. So that's what the audiences will feel throughout. There is something that connects them in terms of some fabric, some thread, yet being at opposite sides.
Conflict भी है, दोनों के बीच में conflict भी है, और दोनों के बीच में एक bromance भी है.
Okay. And Kirti, I saw the trailer, and there's this one shot of you in the trailer, if I'm not mistaken. I would like to know more about.
No, you're not mistaken about that one shot.
Danger lady.
So if you could, I would request if you could tell us more about the character, the world that she comes from. I know that she pulls off action. I was listening to one of your earlier interviews. So the world that she comes from and the value system that she holds.
I feel that as a character and as for the people who are now watching, who have not watched the show yet, the lesser they know about Mumtaz, the more interesting it would be. क्योंकि ऐसे कुछ पहलू हैं उसके, which obviously get revealed in the show. So I wish I knew more about it. But personally speaking, इस show में मैंने ज़्यादा जानने की कोशिश नहीं की क्योंकि usually I get into a lot into backgrounds and this and that and all of that. इसमें मुझे लगा कि यार the less I know,
the more beautiful
the more
I
just need to be present in that scene in that moment and do what I can. तो मैंने personally ज़्यादा इसको सर पे नहीं लिया. I literally just went with the flow. So there's not much I can speak about her.
Okay. And Rasika, I was really intrigued by this one sequence in the trailer when you are sitting across the table and that conversation about the chai happens. Your face lines, the intensity in that scene, it's a treat to watch. Are you the one who's outsmarting Shekhar in this series?
I mean, I could if I wanted to. So, but I don't really want to.
Okay.
I think it's a match of equals.
And when you have such a terrific bunch of characters, your co-actors, the whole cast, what's the energy like on the set? How the everyday functioning unfolds as you go forward and the larger narrative builds eventually?
Oh, we were shooting in the middle of a heat wave, so it was very hard. We were just struggling to survive, honestly. It was very hard to think about anything else but just about how you're going to get through a day of shoot with the kind of sincerity that you would want towards your work. So that was, there were hard shooting conditions, and we were, I think, all sort of helping each other survive with a healthy sense of humor.
Fanning each other.
Yeah. Sometimes with a joke. KK would be very useful on these occasions.
But building further on that, when you have such harsh working conditions, does it take away the room for improvisation because you're really focused on to get this right and get the tone right?
Get it done with, basically.
No, the tone right, basically.
I don't know, sometimes, this is a good question because sometimes I just find that the harder the conditions are, it sort of makes you focus more on what you're doing, because you're so sort of you can't think of anything else around because that's too much. So then you only think of that moment, and that's actually what you're required to do as an actor. So it kind of takes away all the other riffraff, and sometimes very good moments come out of very hard situations. But I wouldn't wish that on any crew. I mean, let's not make that hard situation happen so that you can get good work. No, good actors are very capable of doing good work in spite of that.
Even in comfortable conditions.
Even in comfortable conditions.
In fact, most of the time, since all of us are very experienced here, most of the time you're supposed to portray winter in actual heat.
Yeah, the opposite.
And, and portray something else. And these things happen in an actor's life. So that's a part and parcel. तो उस समय सिर्फ इतना बोलना चाहिए कि अंदर से कि शिमला
हमारे अंदर एक climate control
button है ना ये.
मैं बोलता था ना. This is Shimla. I'm feeling cold, and then give a shot.
I saw this in one of your earlier interviews that how the market is now heavy on the art aspect of the filmmaking. Basically. Content basically. In such a scenario जहाँ market इतना हावी है कला के ऊपर, do you think it is the byproduct of a new economic system, or if I may say so, the new economic policy, which was laid 30 years ago in the early 90s? And is it a byproduct of that the market forces are currently more, they have more weight rather than the art in itself?
We are in the business of emotions, right? Where business and emotion both play an important part. So you cannot just have it because I want to see it in my drawing room. So you've got to also make it in a way that caters to the market. So that's a part. But what is questionable is the sensibility, nothing else. So if you assume that the audience is dumb, then there's a problem. So it's best to assume that the audience is intelligent, they are sensitive, everything is there, and now you're making something for them. So if you have that as a basis, with that kind of respect for them, without thinking that, they'll leave their dimag ghar pe rakhna. I challenge anybody to keep dimag at home. and come.
Yeah.
It's not possible. It's a
Yeah.
part of your being. So as long as you do that, I'm very happy. If not, of course, good for whoever is doing it. No problem. Nothing against them, of course. Yeah.
Okay. And Ranvir, does playing safe in the field of art, does it cut down the possibility for excellence because you're catering to a larger audience? And again, as you mentioned, that we assume that the audience likes certain things. So we cut down on the experimentation and the larger essence of the art, if I may say so.
Absolutely agree with you. No pain, no gain. No reward if no risk. All these things are true, and as an actor, I have always believed in this. From the beginning of my career, I have paid specific attention to not getting typecast, not repeating a role, and you lose out, in the market sense, you lose out on a lot of things. You lose out on roles, you lose out on money. By going against the stream, bhed chal ke against jane mein. But the satisfaction that you get as an actor and the growth that you see as an actor and as a human being is comparatively phenomenal. I can safely say that people who started their career when I did but continued playing the same roles that they did as opposed to mine, I'm quite sure I can say that, my journey experience, I might not have made as much money maybe, but is far more rewarding. And I'm sure more than half of them actually, their careers would have petered out by now when you're doing the same thing. So it's very important to go out on a limb, push yourself. मैं ये नहीं कह रहा हूँ कि उसका भी एक एक्सट्रीम, उसका भी एक लिमिट होता है. ये नहीं कि अब सडनली मैं इतना आउट ऑन लिम जा रहा हूँ कि जो रोल एक्चुअली रसिका को करना है वो मैं कह रहा हूँ नहीं ये भी मैं करता हूँ. ये नहीं हो सकता. But within what you are capable of, or sometimes what you think is difficult for you, you have to push yourself, go out of your comfort zone. I seriously believe in that.
Do you look lovely in that sari?
In the sari, yeah. I did.
Sari would suit,
We had a scene like that.
And the show is directed by two directors, Srijit and Rohan. When you have two different minds working, to build, to gain a collective vision, to make it to come into fruition, what it does to an actor individually? How do you strike the balance? And what's the that's the midpoint of the Venn diagram of both these worlds, both these minds coming together?
It's not as mathematical as that. It can never be because they're human beings. So it's difficult to actually draw a Venn diagram for them. It's just that Srijit, for example, is more of the padaku, the guy who knows the theories about many things, the essence of things he knows. Rohan is very particular about the practicality of it. So it's a good mixture. So Rohan can kind of get into a scene, try and do stuff. Srijit knows what the essence of the scene should be and what it should deliver. So it's a mixture of all that put together. And as actors, we are happy if we have two minds, who are equally brilliant. So for us, that's what's most important. Like I have had the experience. I think most people have the experience of working with two directors. Like in Special Ops, it was Shivam and Neeraj together. So there are so many of example Raj and DK both together. So that is not a problem at all for an actor. It's just that they are there together because there's some kind of a vibe which happens between the two, which is fruitful for that particular scene. So,
Okay. And Kirti, building further on that, are Rohan and Srijit both are very hard taskmasters, or they give you the room to explore?
So thankfully on this one, I only had to deal with one of them, which
Okay.
is Rohan Sippy. So I honestly can't comment on on Srijit and how he is as a director on set. So I think yes, I have done shows where I've had two directors, and sometimes it's a bit of a, it takes some time. It takes you some time to sort of understand both of them, to be for them to come on the same page, and then for you to understand, because they're both human beings and they have a certain way of doing things. So you as an actor are also kind of gauging and trying to understand कि अच्छा किसके साथ कौन कैसा है, किसके साथ कैसे डील करना है. तो ये होती हैं कभी-कभी बहुत प्रैक्टिकल चीज़ें होती हैं. But on this one, I was thank God I had one of them.
Okay. And Rasika, the show is set in the 90s. The technology was very different back then. I mean, of course, we come from that period, so we know what the world was like. But again, going back in time for your character and revisiting those memories as a 90s kid, how was it for you to explore the space?
I think it was an intelligent idea to set this in the 90s. It would be very difficult to make a detective series in today's world. I
Yeah.
mean, it would maybe be visually very boring because everything would probably
Yeah.
happen
So
on the
fingertip,
internet.
yeah.
Yeah, there would be nothing physical and like that about it. I always enjoy going back to an era. I did it recently with another film. You know, it's Goa in the 90s, and then this is Bengal in the 90s. Two of my favorite actually locations in this country, food wise, I would say. So quite a treat actually. I totally enjoyed the idea of this being set in the 90s. Yeah, and I have very strong memories as a child of actually watching detective series, whether it's Feluda or Sherlock, and so all of that sort of came back.
Okay, okay. And my last question is for Ranvir sir and for you, KK sir, both. You have both worked. I mean, apart from the movies, you have worked in advertisement. You started with TV. You started with direction mainly. To traverse across from that journey and to creating something now to be the medium of a storyteller, for the storyteller, to be the actor and to portray the narrative. How has that sensibility of a director or the creator of the content in larger sense has helped you in your journey as an actor? Anyone can take the lead and start.
I think nothing goes waste in life. The good, bad, ugly, everything is useful, especially if you're an actor. So I think each and every crumb that you find in life, which should not be discarded, according to me, if you're an actor, everything comes of use. And this is the only profession in which everything comes of use. If you're a computer engineer, perhaps it won't be of any use, certain experiences of yours. But as an actor, you'll find use for every damn thing that you've gone through in your life. So we kind of are lucky that we remember, cherish even the bad moments. And when that happens, I can guarantee you will become a better actor because you have gone through that experience, not that if people who don't go through or they can also be good actors, but the perception has to be finer then. So I don't think education is a problem. I don't think anything for me is okay because I'm an actor. And we have the facility also of being in a profession in which you are that person yet not carrying the baggage of that person. So that's a fine space to be in. And also like I always believe that every person that you're portraying has to come from an internal process. It has to come from within you so that it becomes authentic. You can of course borrow it from the market and bring in, design it in that manner. That's man-made. But if you try and do it from within, it can perhaps outlive you, if that character. So for me, that is very important, and that can happen only if you value everything that you have done in your life. Because we also have the facility of doing the most unsociable thing on screen and getting an applause for it. Which you can't do in real life. So I think in each human being, there's a spectrum of the most evil to the most good. The entire thing is available. It's just that in real life, we choose a certain bracket to portray ourselves. But as an actor, I have the facility of showing the entire spectrum and yet getting an applause for it. So we are in a fine space, according to me.
And Ranvir, would you like to add?
No, I have to 100% agree with what KK just said, that for me also, experiences are an actor's fuel. Whatever experiences you can get in life, and acting gives you enough time, trust me, to get different experiences. So I 100% agree with that. I myself, from whether working in a restaurant at the age of 18, 19, or selling the electronic typewriter, daisy wheels in in the Fort area in Mumbai, all these experiences, selling air curtains, all these experiences have somewhere always come handy, but none probably more useful than the one which you mentioned, which is the time I spent behind the camera, directing non-fiction for the first 5-10 years of my career. that has stayed with me till today. When I'm on set, I don't think I think purely like an actor. I still, you know,
You get very technical in terms of the lensing, the light and everything.
yeah. So I mean, I wouldn't use those exact words because I don't want to come on the camera team's hit list. But I do think 360. I do think like a filmmaker, and yes, the part I'm playing. You know, I often say this. My process as an actor is not method, is not practical aesthetics. I consider myself assistant director in charge of my character. So that's my process, and that has helped me. I feel a lot of people might not agree, but that's how I think.
I was laughing because when we were shooting for Loot Case, every time we would come on set,
Yeah.
people would say, Chief AD Ranvir Shorey is here.
By the way, I love that
I
film.
get
Loot
that
Case.
a lot. Yeah.
Terrific, terrific.
Thank you.
So on that note, thank you so much for talking.
Thank
to us.
you.
It was